So on Monday, one of the most rare things a lot of fans were talking about that they feel WWE hasn't done in a while is, just really, like throw us off a little bit by the unexpected. This, of course, happened when Finn Balor came out, introduced by Edge as the newest member of the Judgment Day stable. And even though a lot of people would say they kind of saw it coming, if you will, what they didn't see coming, though, and they have admitted this, was what happened afterwards. And that was Judgment Day turning their backs on Edge. Basically, Damian Priest got on the mic, praised Edge and everything, and then said they are now ready to remove the last of the limitations to allow them to be able to be free, be what they want to be. And then he turned to Edge and said, basically, that limitation is you, in which they ended up attacking, basically, Edge after he said that. He basically clotheslined him. They went to town. Edge tried to fight back. But in the end, they ended up doing the job on Edge to where he was storyline stretched out and written off until, I would say, at least Money in the Bank or at least SummerSlam, at the latest. And everybody was wondering why. This doesn't make sense. Because if you view what happened 24 hours prior, the dots don't seem to connect, right? However, here's the thing. With WWE, as some people put it, sometimes it doesn't have to make sense as long as maybe what they plan in the long run pays off, correctly. And again, some people will say they kind of saw this coming with Finn Balor. Some thought it was going to be Tommaso Ciampa, which would have been, a good choice and probably still be a good choice down the line eventually. But, even though some people, like I said, saw it coming or saw Finn as one of those potential members, they didn't see this, this being the way he was going to be introduced into the group. Now, some have assumed and gone back and forth as if maybe Finn is going to be the leader now, or Damian's the leader. I mean, I was watching a news report, if you will, by Cultaholic Wrestling, and the two guys there basically kind of agreed that it seems more like Damian's going to be the leader than Finn. But is that true? Is that kind of being what we're heading towards? Because when you look at how things were done, things were set up, Finn was in the middle. And usually the leader of the group, as we've seen with Edge, is center, in the middle. So who's to say, Finn's not the leader? I mean, we know outside of WWE he has experience as the leader of factions, in other promotions, most notably Bullet Club. So who's to say he's not the leader here? I'm just saying. The Cultaholic guys said that the reason they think it's Damian is because he's bigger. He's what Vince wants. But here's the thing. We've seen smaller guys be leaders, be bosses. You want a good example of that? Turn the page almost 19, 20 years ago. 1918 to 20, well, actually 18 to 20 years ago. Turn the page 18 to 20 years ago. And Spike Dudley, when he turned heel, got the name of the Boss, and he was pretty much the leader of the Dudley clan, between him, Bubba, and Devon. And you would think either Bubba or Devon would be the leader, but that didn't happen. Instead, it was Spike. Spike ended up being the leader. And he is smaller, with all due respect, is what I'm trying to say. I do apologize for that. I kind of stumbled on my words there. But I say that with all due respect, or I say this, I should say, with all due respect to Spike. Finn Balor is bigger than him. But, he's not as big as Damian. But what I'm trying to say, and I know it sounds like I'm being a little confusing here, the point I'm trying to get at is Spike has always been looked at as the runt of the Dudley litter. And yet he was the leader of that trio. So Finn even though he's smaller than Damian, somewhat smaller than Rhea, he's looked at probably as, or he's going to be looked at as probably the leader of the group. Because if you want something for Finn to do and finally probably put him on a track to get him back into the main event status, where I think even, as much as we hate to admit this, Vince McMahon knows he belongs, then what better direction to take him in than as the leader, the new leader of Judgment Day. But again, a lot of people feel like this doesn't make sense based on what happened 24 hours prior. However, there is some news that the Cultaholic guys did say, and PW Insider even reported this too. They actually read from the source. Basically, WWE had some other plans for Judgment Day. See, Edge was cool with being the leader of this group and everything, and its gothic motif and all. But, that was about it. He was cool with, them being in that kind of, that position of, we're dark, we're brooding, we're gothic, we're looked at as like a cult. Like, Damian and Rhea looked to, Edge as sort of like the god, the omnipotent one. What is it called? The omnipotent one? The one to lead him to the promised land and stuff like that. Edge was cool with everything, up to that point. But then WWE decided, well, that's cool and everything, but we need to take it a step further. And the step further they wanted to take it was the supernatural. Not just the purple light that we were seeing, but go beyond that as well. Go like really into the supernaturalness. And, the Cultaholic guys said basically we kind of started to see glimpses of that throughout the weeks, which I think Edge obviously was cool with. But then from what I'm hearing here, listening to what they're saying, reading off the information they got from PW Insider, WWE wanted to take it a step further. They wanted to go even crazier, with it. They wanted to go even crazier with it, I guess. Or at least at least that's the plan, is to go take it to this next level of supernaturalness. And when they, brought this up to Edge was like, nope, I don't want that. I like the group the way it is. So obviously they worked something out to where they're like, well, if you don't want to have a part of it, then I think we have an idea, or something. I don't know. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, honestly, but I'm sure they went back and forth where Edge opposed the idea, and out of respect, they're like, okay, what do you suggest? Because, maybe they brought up that they still see Judgment Day going in that direction. They still want to do that. But what would he suggest? And I'm guessing the timing couldn't be better. He's like, well, if Cody's going to be out, but you still insistent on taking, the group in that direction, how about you have him turn on me? And I'll fill the void of the babyface while Cody is out recovering. And you have Finn, or whoever you choose, mostly Finn, take over as the new leader. Because if you think about it, Finn's demon character, Demon Prince character, or his Demon King character, fits into the realm of the supernatural. Even in Japan, when he did the demon character, it felt like it fit into the supernatural. So what better person, obviously, I guess at maybe the suggestion of Edge, maybe at the suggestion and mutual agreement, I should say, of not just Edge, but of all parties involved, why not have Finn go in that direction? But this time, if he's going to do the demon thing, make it more of a darker thing, make it a darker version of the demon, to where he allows the demon to inhabit, or the demon's presence, its powers, to inhabit Rhea and Damian. That potentially could happen too. We don't really know. The point that I'm getting at here, is, if we were wondering what the reasoning was for this sudden shocking turn of events on Raw with Judgment Day, well, now we have a better understanding. Now we know why. It's not just because the timing, I guess, couldn't unfortunately be better for WWE because Cody's going to be out for a while, to do this, but mainly because Edge didn't like the idea of the group going in a more supernatural a direction than it already was in. I mean, you kind of had that supernaturalness even with the Gothic motif, and him being dubbed the omnipotent one and all that. But apparently word is they wanted to take it a step further. And Edge was against that. He opposed to it. And I guess out of mutual agreement, they decided, okay, what if we made Finn the new leader, because he has that demon character, and we make you the babyface and go from there. And it gives Edge a fresh new set of opponents, for the summer. Edge and Finn, Edge and Damian, and Edge is the kind of person that in storyline would not be opposed to spearing someone like a Rhea Ripley. Like, he could look at Rhea and say, hey, you might be a girl, but that's not going to stop me from taking you down. So they could do that. And from a storyline perspective, they can go a lot of places with Edge on this one too. Unexpectedly, but they can. Because he's pretty much he's distanced himself from a lot of potential help and everything that he could have had when he was being attacked. To the point that in the storyline, he could redeem himself and say, look, I know you still don't trust me, but if anybody knows Judgment Day better than themselves, it's me. So, that could help. That could be something that plays into the fact that, hey, he needs to earn their trust. He'll come to their aid and they're still not going to trust him, but he'll let them in on some information about them. And that's it. That's not just it, but that's something that they can build upon and go from there. Now, I know some people are probably thinking, well, what if this is all ruse? What if Edge being attacked was like the ultimate final test of Judgment Day to prove their loyalty to him, showing that they're even willing to take out their own leader to prove their loyalty, the gratefulness to the omnipotent one? What if this is all ruse in storyline? If it's all ruse, then I think a lot of people would say it sounds very similar to the Ultimate Power storyline from 1999, where Vince put his family through all this, traumatic, horrific turmoil and all that, just because he was obsessed with getting the WWE Championship away from Austin. And pretty much the revelation was, soured on, because it's like, really? This was just another but more elaborate, scheme by Vince to get back at Austin? Really? So yeah, it's, if that is the case, if it ends up being a ruse, people are going to start drawing comparisons, if not already draw comparisons, to that situation in 1999. So hopefully they don't do that. But right now, the reasoning for it isn't just because Cody's going to be gone. It's mainly because of the fact that Edge didn't like the direction they were going to take him in, and Finn seemed like the more a suitable choice to go in that direction that WWE wants to take Judgment Day. So I guess it just all ironically worked out in the end. I mean, all parties agreed, okay, Edge, out of respect, we know you don't like the direction we're going to take it in, but we still want to do it. So how about we do this? And who do you suggest maybe to be that, be the leader, or be the one that you bring in to be the leader or whatever? Or maybe Edge suggested it. It's like, again, all parties probably mutually agreed that, okay, we still want to do this, so we're going to make you the babyface. How do you suggest we go about it? And maybe Edge said, hey, this is how you do it. And what we saw on Monday is the result of that. I don't know. But yeah, pretty much at the end of the day, the reason, we had the switch, if you will, the double turn unexpectedly, was because of the fact that Edge was opposed to what they wanted to take Judgment Day in directional-wise. So it wasn't just because Cody's going to be out and they need a de facto big-name babyface, on the roster, but mainly because of the fact that Edge was opposed to the idea and basically mutually agreed that, hey, I'll be a babyface, and you make Finn, who was supposed to be originally the fourth member, the new leader. And then if you want to get another fourth member down the line, that's cool too. So we'll see what they do with this. But again, one of the positives from a match perspective is in this new feud, unexpected feud storyline, is he had a new fresh set, I should say, of opponents. He had a new fresh set being Finn and Damian, and potentially whoever could be the fourth member, if they're still going to do that. But what are you guys' thoughts? How do you feel about this being the direction WWE's taking Judgment Day? Do you think WWE should have just left it as it is and just added Finn as the newest member and that's all? What are your thoughts? Comment below, live chat during the premiere, like the video, super chats, super stickers are open. You know where to find me. All the information is on my YouTube channel. Just go to the About section of the channel on my homepage, and you'll be able to find everything there, from my Teespring store to deviantart.com at BVW1979, BW Roast's Discussions, on all your favorite audio podcast platforms except for Pandora. Cash App at BW Roses98. Venmo at Brian-Warmer-2. Patreon.com/BW Roses, $1, $3 tier. And at fanfiction.net/Brian.Warmer.1, that's numeral 1, and at Vimeo at BW Roses for content you can't get here on YouTube due to copyright. But again, guys, let me know what your thoughts are. How do you feel about this? And how do you feel about this overall? Do you think this is a good decision to make? Do you think Edge has any influence in this as well? I'm pretty sure he does, because he wouldn't, go along with it if he didn't. So what are your thoughts? How do you feel about it? Also, super thanks will be enabled after the premiere of the video. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. And I'm out.